I got a lot, there were a whole lot of people there, we've got great friends, and the manager of the hotel was there. And when he got to know, when they introduced me, he said, "You're the woman who was two of everything, aren't you?" Of course, I mean with my accent, which is, everybody says I've got an English accent then, but then it was really exaggerated. And he said, now the secret is out. I said, "Well, don't charge me for everything, because I don't think I'll have enough money." He said, so when I went the next morning, and so Skinner, they were awfully good to me. They took me out that night, took me to a Polynesian restaurant, well, Creole stuff.
Yeah.
And
which would have been very new for you.
Very new for me, never had it. And we had a great time, and they were very kind, and Cutter got on, not Cutter, Skinner got onto the phone and arranged with me for a flight the next night if there was a cancellation at 8 o'clock on the Sunday. This is when I was back again, and I packed my bag waiting to see if I could get out. And he phoned the airport, he knew something.
Oh.
And he said, been stranded and everything, you know.
And you never did see the Cook's person?
Never did see Cook's person. Oh, they sent me everything afterwards.
Oh.
You know, I wrote to them, but I never saw them.
No.
Didn't have to, because they kept me on, because I was on the roster of the plane flights.
Oh,
you know
I
how
see.
they always have the name of the people
So
that are flying, so I was on it. So they knew that, and then they knew that Cook's had got my ticket. I mean, they knew all about it at the end.
So you actually went all the way to Calgary without your ticket?
Exactly.
You didn't need it?
No. I didn't have a ticket. And so when I got to Toronto, then the immigration, the man at the, immigration? No, when you come off the plane, and I've been through, well, my luggage was still on. I just got off for an hour to change planes, and they changed. And he said to me, there's some people to meet you, Mrs. Evans. And I said, "Oh, I don't know anybody in Toronto. There must be another Evans." And he said, "No, there's no other Evans on the plane. You're the only one." It was Ainsley.
Oh.
And Ross's, that was Grandpa's sister, who lived in Toronto. She was the Dean of Women at the university, and lived with Uncle Alec and Aunt Mabel.
Well, how in heaven's name did she know you were coming through
Of course, Ross
on
had
that
told
plane?
her.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was supposed to... I got there at the time I was
It was
supposed
the right
to
plane.
arrive.
Oh,
Well,
I see.
maybe not the right plane, but I looked so lost. You know, the girls were like, this is funny though, because we used to have in my day, they had little sort of like little briefcases with a mirror at the back, like a little briefcase.
Yeah, so you can
and with all your makeup in it, yes.
Yeah.
So all my makeup was in there. Comb, lipstick, everything else, because I had luggage to carry it in.
Yeah.
So I just had left it in the cab. Got on the plane with no face. No face. And you're going to meet your fiancé, whom we haven't seen for 2 years, and you've been all night in an airport.
Oh, man.
But anyway, I went with Ainsley and Uncle Mabel and Aunt Alec, and I said, "Let's have a drink," you know. And they said, "Oh yes."
They don't drink.
Well,
They
they didn't have a bar either.
No, they were non-drinkers.
Well, there was no liquor in the airport anyway.
Oh, right.
Nowhere. And I said, "Well, let's go." You know, they introduced themselves, and I said, "Oh, well, I knew you were Ross's sister because you look exactly the same." And they did. She introduced me, and I said, "Well, how about a drink?" You know.
Yeah.
And she gave me a red rose. I always remember Ainsley gave me a red rose.
Oh,
Very sweet. And I said, "Well, thank you very much, that's very nice." And she said, "Well, we'd heard from Ross to say you were coming in." She said, they'd met a couple of planes already.
Oh.
So then, well, you know, as a loss, you say, "Let's go and have a drink." Or,
Yeah.
She said, "Well, we can get a cup of tea or coffee." Oh, I got the message very fast.
That's right.
I said, "Well, that's what I really
They were
want."
teetotalers.
Teetotalers. But there was no bar there anyway. But anyway, I didn't mean to say that we're going to sit and drink a couple of brandies. Or
Yeah, no, that's...
just put a gin and tonic or
Something
something.
to break the ice.
But at any rate, we had a little time together, and so she sent a wire off to Ross and said, we hope you have a wonderful wedding tomorrow. We met Bill and we like her, and that was it. So, so that was good. But, oh no, the things that happened, you see. Francis saying, "Yes, you're the one that has to have everything." So when I went to the desk to pay my bill and everything, I just put all my travel checks on. I think I was allowed $100 in cash and $200 in traveller's checks. That's all you could bring out of England at the time. Not that I had much more, I'll tell you, anyway. So I put it all on the desk, and then he looked at it and he says, "You don't have to buy the place, you know."
Ah, the same manager.
Well, because there, you see, every pound was worth $5. You got
Oh,
$5 to
right.
the pound.
Oh,
So I mean,
wow.
I really had a fair amount of money, double practically, you know,
Right.
for what it is now. And but to me, I didn't know $1 from anything. You know.
No, that's right.
I thought I'd never get used to the money, but I did. But at any rate, he said, "You don't have to buy the place." I said, "Oh well, that's good." So that was the story of my playtime. So then I heard from all these people in New York for quite some time afterwards. But do you know, my mother and father always got every so often a letter to ask where I was. I'd never been traced out of New York. You know, I could have stayed there and I would have been an alien. Not
Oh.
an alien. Yes. No.
You got letters-
Illegal. Illegal.
Yeah.
Yes. No, because you see, I wasn't supposed to be on that plane, I suppose.
Oh,
no
I
ticket went through.
So the authorities would send a letter to
Yes,
your
from
parents?
you know, from wherever it customs, I
Asking
suppose,
where you
or
were.
immigration or something.
Yeah.
And I'd never gone through according to them, because I didn't. It just put me on the plane.
Oh.
Well, I've come to the conclusion that Skinner, and I got his note to Rosemary, must have had some pull, because he was chief, engineer for White Oil or something, in Kansas. So, and he was on New York in business, so I think he probably had some pull, or knew somebody, or something. Maybe he was a frequent flyer or something.
Mhm.
Because no, he just owned it. I didn't drive me. He drove me back to the hotel, and he said, "I'll take you to the airport." And I said, "No, I'll get a cab," which I did, because they'd done enough for me. And that was it. I mean, they were very, very kind. But that's why I always like Americans.
Yeah.
They were very good, very kind. Yeah. And I find the people as a whole, their way of life doesn't always appeal to me that much, but nevertheless.
A great way to see New York for the first time, I
Oh,
guess. Just yes.
Yes, well actually,
Yes.
you know, coming from small England and with our sort of buildings, it looked like a Walt Disney town, you know, with all the high scrapers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything, and the colour, and it was great. No, I love New York.
Yeah.
I was only there for 2 days. And then I went into a place to buy a hat in Madison Avenue. I went out on the Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
When I'd been to Cook's, and I thought, well, I'll wander around a bit. I knew where my hotel was. I could get into a cab and say, take me back to the hotel. I wandered around, got to Madison Avenue, had some lunch, and the first time I'd ever known what it was, a real drugstore with the old, when they did the milkshakes, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and everything. You sat at the counter.
Like a soda bar, or soda, whatever they call it. Yeah, yeah.
To the chemist shops that we had in England. Never had those things. A chemist shop was a chemist shop.
Right.
You know, if you wanted drinks, you went to the dairy farm.
Right, yeah, that's right.
But they did them all in New York, so that was quite a new thing. And so I sat there, and I had, I think, a vanilla milkshake or something, which I'd never had before.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, and then chatted with them there, and they were very kind. Then I walked along, and I saw a hat shop, and I've always had a weakness for hats. And I saw one looked like a sailor hat, not a sailor, a straw banner, you know, with a big tartan bow in the front of it. I got married in that the
Did
next
you?
day. And they gave me 10% off of a glass of sherry, because I was getting married. Americans are very friendly people, you see. Whereas they say that with the English that they are very, very conservative. They are but they have to know you first to be really friendly. Whereas the Americans are friendly right away. Instantly, you know. But I found they were very, very kind to me, very fond of me. So that was the story of getting to New York. I could still be wandering around. That's why the bombs and things.
That's right.
Blowing things up. But no, they never.
Not you.
No.
No, no.
Never know what you get pulled into.